Casket. In this chapter, we shall read how a witty hermit had to pay for his wrong deeds. It was night and my sister and I used to hear stories from our grandma before going to bed. Grandma promised to tell us the story about a false hermit and how a girl turned into a witch for him. She sat on an armchair and said, once upon a time on the outskirts of a certain town stood a temple. Every day hundreds of devotees visited it. They offered fruits and coins before the deity. One day a young man, who thought himself to be very clever, started living in a hut close to the temple. He sat with his closed eyes as if he was meditating. Town folks thought him to be a holy man. By and by it became a custom with the devotees to look him after they had worshipped the deity. They bowed to him and placed before him food and money as gifts. The fake rickles smiled at them and patted them on their backs. They were pleased, thinking that his blessings would surely do them good. By and by the young man soon became rich. With the money he built a fine house near the temple and lived happily. He had 6 fellows at his command who were good for nothing and became his disciples. One day a rich merchant paid a visit to the temple along with his wife and a beautiful daughter. As they were worshipping the deity with their folded hands, the false hermit watched them from his room in the upper floor of his house. The hermit liked the daughter of the merchant and thought how wonderful it would be to have her as my wife, and sent for the merchant. When the merchant came, he received him very kindly. The hermit said, your luck seems rather bad. I can see you will lose all what you have, and said that a great misfortune is to befall you due to your daughter. The merchant was surprised to hear this. He asked the hermit how could he overcome this ill luck. The hermit said, listen carefully, do not lose heart. The cause of your ill luck is your daughter. No power on the earth or in the heaven can save you as long as she is by your side. You must give her up immediately, said the hermit. But I am her father. How can I give her up? Asked the confused merchant. Somehow the merchant agreed, abiding to the hermit's instruction. The merchant put her sleeping daughter and placed a lamp on the casket. Hermit waited very anxiously for the sun to set. That very night, he with some of his trusted disciples waited impatiently on the desolate river bank, his heart running pit-a-pat. Around midnight, they spotted a faint flicker in midstream. His disciples carried the casket into his bedroom. He then asked them to leave and then, as excited as a mouse at the sight of cheese, took the lid off the casket in great haste. No sooner had he done so than he received a sharp slap on the face. Horrified, he tried to take a closer look at what emerged from the casket, but received an instant scratch in the eye. As he covered his eye with his palm, a savage bite took away a chunk of his bright nose. He shrieked and rushed out of his room, but not before the strange creature that hopped out of the casket had pulled his ears and planted a heavy spank on his cheek. Then he jumped out of his window, leaped onto a tree and escaped. My sister interrupted in between to ask, who was in the casket, Grandma? She said it was a monkey. The hermit ran for his life, at a total loss to understand how a beautiful girl turned into a dreadful monster. A witch, he shrieked while running. Did he come back? My excitement was pinching me to know about that crooked young man. No, he never returned. What happened to the girl? I asked again. Was she saved by someone else? Did she get her bridegroom? My grandma asked me listen the story quietly, as she was going to tell about her only. The girl got the best bridegroom in the kingdom after all. It so happened that before the false hermit saw the casket, the prince of the land, who was returning by boat from a hunting spree in the forest, had discovered it. Attracted by the lamp, he brought the casket abroad his boat and opened it, and discovered the sleeping beauty. As he had earlier captured a ferocious monkey from the forest, he substituted this beast for the beauty and set the casket adrift again. He did not neglect to put the lamp back in its place. In the morning, the prince led the girl to her father. The merchant was surprised. He did not expect such thing, though he was extremely delighted. The prince then asked the merchant for the girl's hand and said that he never thought to have such a beautiful wife.